When she had her first blocked artery, as it was, in Brazil, she was 49. And her second massive stroke brain hemorrhage came when she was 51. So she was still quite a young woman. During our lifetime, our married lifetime, Jenny and I spent a good deal of it overseas working for the British Council, which is Britain's overseas educational and cultural agency. And that took us to Belize, to the USA, to Kenya, East Africa, and Latin America. So it was a very full and enriching life. Jenny as a person was immensely bubbly and almost infectious. People gravitated towards her, whereas I was more of the grey old bureaucrat. A fairly liberal mum. I was more of the disciplinarian. So she was the human face of the family, really. She was also an immensely good cook, and she had her own catering business when we were here in the UK. So she was a cordon bleu cook. When Jenny first came home after 9 months in hospital and rehab, we had a live-in carer to look after her, and this lasted for about 18 months. I continued with my work. But since we were paying for this ourselves, this was running down our savings at a rather alarming rate, and I decided to look at another option, which was to take early retirement and look after her myself. Obviously, I was looking over the precipice, as it were. I had to start running a home and washing machines and laundry and keeping the house clean and so forth. All of these things, and the shopping, all these things I had to sort of learn. And it was at this point, when I was feeling lost and all at sea, that I was put in touch with Carer Support Elmbridge, who came and interviewed me and told me what areas they could help me and support me. So there is a wide range of activities which Carer Support themselves do, and also mainly putting people in touch with the right agencies who can help them for their particular problem and disability, because once a catastrophe of this type has hit a family, your brain's turned to scrambled egg. You're not really focusing. You're focusing on the cared for person, your loved one, and you can not always see your way out of the blind alleys or the cul-de-sacs you feel you're in. When I first started caring, people said, "Don't you feel very isolated?" And I said, "No, funnily enough, I don't." And I think that's something to do with the internet, because I can still correspond with friends in Brazil or wherever. People, when they say they're isolated, they don't necessarily be able to articulate the fact that, let's say, half the people in their address book have stopped seeing them. Because it's worth admitting that you do lose some friends when a catastrophe strikes. Some friends find it too difficult. They say, "My wife finds it too upsetting to come and see Jenny. She would like to, but she doesn't feel comfortable." And other people find that we're too messy because Jenny has a swallowing problem. And so we're too messy, so we need to go and have kitchen suppers rather than formal dinner parties, and if we're ever invited to eat at all. But so we don't necessarily depend on other people's largesse so much. We depend on our own, perhaps inner strength more. A number of things positive have come out of Jenny's stroke. For a start, I'm a much more compassionate person as a result of this experience. Secondly, our lives have become much more local, and not necessarily the worse for that, because after years of travelling the globe, it's very nice to be part of a community. So many of the things we do relate to our local street and neighbours and friends around here. plus Jenny's activities, a class she goes to once a week, and disabled sailing that she does, and having art classes, an art teacher comes in. Yes, go on then. Go and sit down and we'll give you some tea and coffee. Bills, Jennifer, do you want to pay some for me? All contributions accepted. River cruises. Oh, go on, go and sit down. I'm not made of money. I think one has to put any sense of resentment behind one in order to be, if you like, I'm not saying that carers are always ever going to be fully content with their lot, but to be more content with one's lot, I think you have to put those sort of things behind you, if you can, and move on, and make sure that the moving on is done in a positive way, so that you can see the blessings that have come through the misfortune. It may be that one has an even more closer relationship with grown-up children, families, as a result of such a tragedy. For my first year or two as a carer, I always signed myself retired British Council officer on forms whenever I had to fill in a form. And after a while, after a couple of years, I suddenly found myself signing myself carer or home manager or something like that. So, if you like, there had been a sort of metamorphosis in my life and my own perception of myself. No longer was I harking back to my previous life. I am what I am today, which is a carer.